In a world where people document everything, some people post almost nothing. No daily updates, no food pictures, no gym selfies, no relationship announcements. Sometimes they disappear for weeks, months, even years, and somehow that silence makes people curious. Because in a culture obsessed with visibility, silence stands out. People start wondering, what are they hiding? ? What are they doing? ? Why don't they post like everyone else? ? But here's what's interesting. People who rarely post aren't all the same. Some are incredibly private, some are deeply confident, some are overwhelmed, some are anxious, and some simply don't see social media the same way most people do. Because for many people, posting isn't actually about sharing. It's about validation, attention, connection, reassurance, identity. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Human beings naturally want to feel seen. We want to belong. We want to matter. But people who rarely post often get those needs met somewhere else, through real friendships, meaningful relationships, personal goals, careers, passions, experiences. They don't need the internet to constantly confirm their existence. And that's why some people seem perfectly comfortable staying quiet online. They're not trying to prove they have a life, they're busy living it. Now here's where it gets interesting. A lot of people assume quiet people are mysterious because they're confident, and sometimes that's true. But not always. Sometimes people avoid posting because they're afraid of criticism, afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish, afraid nobody will care. And fear creates silence too. That's what makes psychology so fascinating. Two people can display the exact same behavior for completely different reasons. One person doesn't post because they're secure. Another doesn't post because they're anxious. From the outside, they look identical, but internally, they're experiencing completely different realities. And that's why assumptions are dangerous, because behavior alone rarely tells the whole story. But there is one pattern that shows up again and again. People who don't depend heavily on external validation often feel less pressure to perform their lives. They don't need every meal photographed, every vacation documented, every accomplishment announced, every moment witnessed. The experience itself is enough. And in today's world, that's becoming increasingly rare because social media has quietly changed the way many people experience life. Sometimes people aren't enjoying moments anymore. They're preparing content, thinking about captions, thinking about angles, thinking about likes, thinking about reactions, thinking about how the experience will look before they've even fully lived it. And over time, life can start feeling less like living and more like performing. That's one reason some people pull away from posting altogether. Not because they're hiding, not because they're antisocial, but because they're tired. Tired of comparison, tired of algorithms, tired of turning every experience into content, tired of feeling like every moment needs an audience. And honestly, there's something refreshing about that, because some of the happiest people you'll ever meet aren't trying to convince anyone they're happy. Some of the most successful people you'll ever meet aren't constantly broadcasting their success. And some of the most fulfilled people you'll ever meet aren't looking for strangers to validate their lives. They simply live them, quietly, authentically, without needing applause. And that's a difficult idea for modern culture to accept, because we've become so used to visibility that we sometimes confuse visibility with value. But they're not the same thing. Someone can be deeply loved and rarely post. Someone can be incredibly successful and rarely post. Someone can be genuinely happy and rarely post. Because a quiet life isn't necessarily an empty life. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes the people saying the least online are the people experiencing the most offline. And maybe that's the real lesson. Not everything meaningful needs to be displayed. Not every success needs an announcement. Not every memory needs proof. Some things can simply exist. And honestly, that's the signal.